$500. I expected some kind of misunderstanding about what she meant by what you saw under there. This is probably better. I can't really think of anything out of that P. I've heard a version of this joke, but I like this one a lot more. This joke is full of under-the-table deals. Shocked by her boldness, Dace hesitantly replied positively. Sarah then said, "You can have it, but it costs $500. Shocked by her boldness, Dave changed names. Witness Protection Program. Ah. The old reverse fucker card. Talk about fucked. This is how leverage works. I got confused halfway through the joke. Where did Dave go? Where did Dace come from? Lesson learned: under the table deals are never fruitful in the long run. Might need to edit some spelling errors. But solid joke. Seen it around a lot. A detective was once called to a farm in rural Tennessee to investigate a murder. Oh see, this was an absolutely wild ride with a groaner finish. 10-10. The moment he called out George and Michael, I knew what was going on. I'm never gonna dance again. Guilty feet have got no rhythm. Though it's easy to pretend. I know you're not a fool. I have no idea why this joke is funny. Can someone please explain it? I'm torn. It was too long to be a dad joke. But the punchline was dad joke gold. The wham part had me suspicious too. Then a loud wham apostrophe. I see you. GRRRRR, take my upvote. Beautifully constructed joke. Wham bam, thank you ma'am. Hard to get to the obscure punchline, but great effort. Not even a cackle. Slightly painful. Well done. Despite the sheer length of the joke setup, you didn't pull the wool over my eyes. It wasn't too bad. Very good, ha. Amazing work. Because the economy is growing on average, in theory if you invested a small amount of money in everything you will make a profit. Congratulations, you just learned about index funds. That's called an index fund. And it only applies if indeed the economy keeps growing on average. Go consult the Japanese on the matter. Nikkei 225 still hasn't gotten back to its peak of 1989 during Japanese real estate bubble. The stock market has always been growing. If you invest for the long term, you will make money. People seem to think that investing means day trading. That's what the SP 500 basically is. True, it's the financial version of throw enough spaghetti at the wall and some of it will stick. Congrats on discovering the essence of investing. This is why inflation is a boogeyman. It's only a problem because we don't guarantee cost of living to everyone. Our bogleheads is what you are looking for. Highland hospitality. A Scottish man calls into work early. One says to his boss, "Sorry sir, but I won't be able to make it in today." The boss asks, "And why not?" The Scottish man tells him, "Not feeling so well, I have a week off." The boss asks, "So you have a week off?" Scottish man says, "Thanks for being so understanding, I was only planning on being out a day." Was this a Gilbert Gottfried joke? He was always making jokes with setups like a man is traveling and needs a place to stay for the night. I wish I'd known about this kind of hospitality when I traveled to the Highlands some years ago. Knew it was gonna involve his daughter. Did not see that one. It's strange how everyone who believes racial hierarchy is a real thing always happens to be a member of the best race. I definitely wouldn't say everyone. There are absolutely people who think that they are part of an inferior race. Not everyone. Believe it or not, I once met a black Nazi. He argued that he was born in an inferior race as a punishment of God or something, and therefore had to compensate for it by doing lots of Nazi stuff. The same with religion. Not really strange, pretty logical actually. This is absolutely not true. You just have to browse some of the more insane subreddits to see. Really? What good is a hierarchy if I'm not at the top? Racists, probably. Hitler did not have blonde hair or blue eyes. I live in a former Dutch colony. And the number of people who believe that Westerners are always superior is still quite disturbing actually. Men. What is something that your wife girlfriend dislikes about herself that you actually find attractive? She's always complaining about her butt. I think it's amazing though. Her hair is going gray and I think it's just the best. She hates the idea of getting older. I love growing older with her. My wife has a white streak in her hair from a birthmark. She hates it. It was the thing that made me stare at her the day we met. Last week was the 29th anniversary of our first date. That she likes to talk a lot. I actually enjoy listening to her talk because her voice is like something crafted from God himself. She always says, "Are you even listening?" I feel like I'm talking too much, and then when I recite everything she said for the past 20-30 minutes she kind of blushes. Smiley face. Her ears stick out. She covers them with her hair. But I think they are adorable. Her face. She thinks she is unattractive although she is the most beautiful woman on earth. My wife left me because she didn't think I would ever get over my Phil Collins obsession. Sounds like you succeeded against all odds. Take a look at me now. I don't care anymore. Heard she went back to school. Very studious. I'll take this at face value. It's always the same. It's just a shame. That's all. Guess she felt you were living in two worlds. Moved on to someone with a Peter Gabriel obsession. More class. She'll get on board with it. Can't hurry, love. No, you'll just have to wait. Every day without her is like another day in paradise. Well, you can't hurry, love. That's what you say was the reason. But we haven't heard both sides of the story. I was gonna get married. However, I can't dance. You know you want to, but you're in too deep. I must ask, what was the genesis of your relationship? But little did she know, you're a Whitesnake fan. And now every night you finish with Peter Gabriel and Shock the Monkey. But seriously, no matter what you weigh, your weight is somebody's goal. I weigh as much as 37 neutron stars. No one can compete with me and no one wants to be my weight. It's interesting that your examples indicate that everyone's goal weight is less than their current weight. There are some people who may wish to gain weight. Also the other way around. There's skinny dudes who would love to bulk up. That's a really beautiful way to look at it. Everyone's journey is different, and what matters most is feeling healthy and happy in your own skin. You never know, your journey might inspire someone else aiming for their own wellness goals. Our daughter had a 1,000-pound patient. Not everyone wants to be skinny. I want to be 260 pounds but I'm short and can't make it there without looking weird. Yeah. But comparing yourself to others is usually pointless at best and destructive at worst. What if you are the fattest man on the planet who weighs 1,345 pounds? Of the lower 48, Montana and Maine are the only states that neither have a professional sports team, nor border a state with a pro sports team. Real top tier shower thought here. No, but they do border a province with pro sports teams. Dude's got a US map in his shower. Another interesting tidbit about is the only one of the lower 48 to share borders with only one other US state. Are we technically allowing the Patriots to represent all of New England? Or also no high-level professional sports, but New Hampshire has the Manchester Monarchs of the AHL and the Portland Sea Dogs play in Portland, Maine. That is definitely not a shower thought. Man stores the entire Wikipedia in his brain. Till shower thought. This ain't even a shower thought. This is just look at this cool fact. Maine and Montana, where the meaning of home game is completely redefined. Steve-O here, ask me anything. How are your animal sanctuary plans going? What happened to your leg? Did you ever get around to listening to Danny Brown? Thanks for doing an AMA. What's the greatest praise you've ever received for your work? What's something you've turned down that would surprise your fans? What is your most old man healthy habit at this point in your life? How did you manage to get people to agree to the plain jacking off? I am an addict and alcoholic. What's the best advice you can give me? I'm not a social person. I love you, bro. Do you have access to musicians like Drake, Rene Residentes, Farai Basta, J Balvin, Bad Bunny? Hi Steve-O, can you give me a stunt or challenge to do? Me and my friends started up a rip-off Jackass and you told me during your last AMA to never set myself on fire, so please give me an alternative. Will do you proud. Thank you from Lucy from Glasgow. You said I have a cool name before, so I brag about it daily. Serious, what is the most disturbing documentary you've ever seen? There's something wrong with Aunt Diane. That one messed me up for days. The Jared Fogle documentary was chilling. I've heard of pedophiles of course, but hearing actual audio, and how graphic he was, and so casual about it. I'm a true crime junkie, but something about that just made me sick to my stomach. Dear Zachary, tell me who I am. The Jimmy Savile documentary on Netflix, because as you watch it you realize an entire country came together to give one specific pedophile the best life he could possibly. It seems as if everyone knew, but nobody did anything. Savile would straight up walk into juvenile detention centers for teenage girls and say, "Oh, it's me, Jimmy, can I borrow some girls for the day?" "You sure can, Jimmy. Jim will fix it." Some animals are more dangerous dead than alive. A chicken would pick you clean if you fell over and couldn't get back up. Deceptively savage little bastards. You can eat a live chicken and choke on it, or get food it's dead and cooked. You kill bacteria, salmonella and campylobacter. Still active when alive. You have never met a chicken. I have seen chickens chase off full-grown men with blood trails following them off the farm. The fuck you mean a chicken is harmless? You sound like an awful cook. Clearly you have never been chased by a chicken. Tell me haven't spent a lot of time around alive chickens. Lamau. Those things are vicious and will attack a full-grown human and draw blood and keep after you even if you kick them. Are descendants of dinosaurs and are angry about it. Psycho chicken starts playing. I suppose Fugu is a good example. Tell me you have never dealt with chickens without telling me you have never dealt with chickens. Till during a 1972 John Lennon-Chuck Berry jam session that the sound engineers muted Yoko's mic. Not sure I'd call it a jam session, but goddamn, bless that engineer. My dad was just watching Rolling Stones' Rock and Roll Circus from 1968. It was pretty dope. But Lennon came out at one point with the Dirty Mac and starts playing a kick-ass song with the violinist, and halfway through Yoko crawls on stage and starts doing this shit for like 3 straight minutes while everyone was jamming. The violin guy looked annoyed as fuck. Those sound engineers are absolute legends. Also Chuck's face, anguished face, smiley face. Here's a working link to the video. And here's a timestamped link. Till about the Sweatbox, a documentary about the making of The Emperor's New Groove. Produced by Sting's wife, it was never released by Disney due to the unprecedented access to their creative process, which was uncharacteristically rushed and improvised for this project. Here's a link to the documentary. Rushed and improvised? Well, it still turned out an amazingly fun movie. It's incredible that the making of this movie was such a shit show because it's hands down the best Disney movie. Total lightning in a bottle. This happens all the time in animation, radically changing direction, often with new directors and producers. Even a movie as derided as Scoob was in production for 4 years, had multiple different directors including Dax Shepard, and went through 4 or 5 completely different stories. I feel like the only reason this became known in this instance is because this was the first time probably in his life that someone said no to 4 typos. Still, that alcohol-based hand sanitizers don't kill norovirus, the highly contagious winter vomiting disease that sickens 685 million people per year. 99.9 effective. That's why you have to washy and not just use the sanitizer at the buffet. Wait until you find out what a cruise ship makes you do every time you enter and onboard yourself. An alcohol-based virus runs rampant on cruise ship. Norovirus. I always just called it stomach flu. That vomiting and Hershey squirts ain't nice. Yes, good old-fashioned soap. That virus is a bastard. Nothing fucks you up like that. It feels like you get beat up from the inside. What about if we start injecting people with chlorine? A lot of the household sprays I have don't list norovirus, either. What kills it on surfaces? A lot of gastrobugs don't give the faintest of shits about hand. Only way to get rid of them is to actually wash your damn hands. Till that before the atomic bomb attack on Hiroshima, a B-29 weather reconnaissance plane called Straight Flush flew over the city to determine if conditions were favorable. Its pilot, Claude Etherly, later expressed remorse, received psychiatric hospitalization, and engaged in anti-nuclear activism. The psychological impact of possibly being responsible for hundreds of thousands of deaths would be overwhelming, even in wartime. World War II knows art was fucking wild. It was either something very racist or a naked woman. There is a part of the death that die fast and without realizing what is happening. But for many people, an atomic attack is a slow, painful death by radiation poison. Of the civil article Hiroshima by John Hersey is a good way to start to understand how it felt to be there. If Claude reads such an article and gains such knowledge, I can imagine his terrible sadness. Till that even if you filled it with the densest substance on Earth, you could not exceed the weight limit 70 pounds of a small US Postal Service flat rate box. If it fits, it ships. Yeah, but when I tried to ship Neutron Star Core, then they get all pissy about the weight. Something about breaking their equipment, IDK. They probably wouldn't like shipping like $300,000 of osmium though. I used to ship a decent amount of lead back in the day when they had a smallish cube flat rate box. You could fit about 65 pounds of lead. Every single time I would walk up to the counter, they thought I was joking around with how I was carrying it. You could have made a comedy show out of the following minute of watching them move here things around on the counter and scale. Lol WTF. But it is worth trying. Have you tried your mom? Article fails because it doesn't consider anti-vaxxers. Then why have a weight limit? Dark Matter has entered the chat. Till that slot machines run by the US military earn $100 million a year from service members overseas. Gotta take big swings if you're gonna make the payments on that 37 APR Dodge Charger loan. I remember seeing these when I lived in Germany. I used to watch these older women sit there with no smiles, just mindlessly dropping in quarters, cranking the crank, and when they did get a payout, they'd just scoop the quarters back into their cup and keep going like nothing happened. I was in 3rd and 4th grade at the time and it made no sense to me. Soldiers are going to gamble regardless. Trying to ban this is like trying to ban them from alcohol and whoring. At least this way the funds go back in-house through the MWR Morale, Welfare, Recreation program that funds a lot of the video games and lounges we enjoyed overseas, instead of into an actual casino, or into the pocket of some people on the streets you don't want your troop owing money to. Till that to join the EU, Austria had to lift its blanket ban on members of the Habsburg family entering Austria because it was a violation of human rights. Karl Habsburg was born before the law was abolished and had a passport that said Passport of the Republic of Austria. Valid in every country except Austria for that reason. Interesting and bit of a sad detail. Both sons of Archduke Franz Ferdinand were, because of their origin, banned from the line of succession and being a part of House of Habsburg. After World War I, they were however hit by a similar law existing in Czechoslovakia, where they lived their whole life and were forced to leave for Austria, where they could actually live since they weren't Habsburgs. They however both ended in concentration camps when Nazis took power. Somehow I didn't know they were straight up banned. I think the only time you hear about a Habsburg here nowadays is when that racing driver Habsburg Sion does commentary on TV. Till tortoiseshell, used in eyeglass frames, Guitar picks and luxury items, has been banned for trade since 1973 because it mostly comes from the endangered hawksbill sea turtle. Most tortoiseshell objects today are made from plastic. Honestly, I'm surprised that they were ever not plastic. I thought tortoiseshell was just the pattern. My cat is a tortoiseshell. How do I tell if she's made from plastic? Imagine in 2023 buying something called tortoiseshell and expecting actual tortoiseshell. The suffering is the point lol. Same with houndstooth, nitrocellulose, and super flammable. It really shows a lack of entrepreneurship. What you do is study the endangered turtles so that you can successfully breed them in a healthy artificial habitat, then you can sell them all you want and people can't even be mad at you, since if you release some of them, you are also helping them not be endangered anymore. Till when a newly discovered sponge-like fungi was named after SpongeBob SquarePants in 2011, a mycological research journal initially rejected the name for being too frivolous. When challenged, the scientists stood behind their discovery, saying we'll name it whatever we like. More frivolous than Sonic Hedgehog? When there's an estimated 5 million species on the planet, 4 million yet to be discovered, you can have fun with some names. Fungi McFungus Face, Smiley Face, who challenges the establishment under the sea. You understand that there will be others writing to criticize your decision to use that name? Do you have any comment about how you would defend your decision? I'm ready. For those who don't want to click the link, the fungus name is Spongiformis squarepantsii. So what's the fucking name? The growing use of NPC as an insult really speaks to the main character syndrome of the people who use it. Everybody is the main character in their own life. Calling someone an NPC has become NPC behavior actually. I had a student ask me, how do you know when somebody is actually real and when somebody is an NPC? What WULDEUKNL, why are just an NPC? Kidding. But you get it, right? Honestly, I find the phrase kind of terrifying. They're literally denying their opposition's humanity. Everybody is an NPC sometimes. Good mental health requires you to stop caring and be a sheep sometimes. Blending in with the sheep makes you a difficult target to discern even if you aren't one at heart. You're not very game savvy, are you, bud? Sucks, my game settings are stuck. Every time I start chatting up an attractive woman, the reminder logo appears indicating my game is all ages appropriate. To people who have also worked with multimillionaires or billionaires, what is something different they do from ordinary people? Hire a private chef for a casual Tuesday lunch with her girlfriends. $2K. Just like that. I didn't realize that the act of driving is some peasant shit till I met them. I worked with their children in a professional manner and feel bad for them. They lack empathy and basic social skills, and were just beasts to anyone they feel is outside their economic class. You would be surprised how much money gets spent on cover-ups, from sexual harassment to drug issues, because the parents are chasing dollars and ignoring their intended trophy kids. What's something you wish you knew about sex before you had sex? If at night, decide if you are spending the night together or leaving when done. Sex has an aroma that others can pick upon, including family members. Just because the sex is good doesn't mean they love or even care for you. That people are not always honest about having tested negative for STDs, and you should not take their word for it before you have sex. That it's totally okay to hurt someone's feelings by saying no at any point to anything. It doesn't mean someone loves you, and it doesn't make someone love you. I wish I knew how few women orgasm from penetration alone. Lube isn't just for old people. Can be surprisingly hard to angle. You don't have to fake it for a guy's ego. It's very much not like the movies. Don't try to make it be like the movies.